Hello there. It's been more than 1 year that I don't post anything in Spotify. Actually, I was worried because my my English might be a little bit more rusty, so I apologize about that. But basically, a few days ago, a really good friend of mine just encouraged me to you know to launch a few more episodes of these, since I have a few more ideas that I want to share with you. And yeah, well, here we are, 2026, and there's a concept that I really want to share. I shared in social media a few weeks ago, and it was interesting because it's the first time that someone said to me, "Hey, Freddy, I don't agree with you." And it's not that people don't agree with me normally, is that it's a topic that it's interesting enough that people actually say so. Normally they would just shut up and say, whatever, Freddy, like I don't care what you say, right? But they wouldn't bother to reply. But on this topic, there were a few people that said, "Hey, Freddy, I actually don't agree with you," and they were very polite. But yeah, that was on text format, right? And I think this format in audio, it's going to help a lot in terms of explaining why I mentioned or I said what I said. And I would love for you to, well, give a thought. And if you want to give me some feedback on this, I will be really appreciated on this. So, the topic is about managing happiness. And as you know, someone said that happiness is your current state minus your expectations, right? Meaning that if you have really high expectations, it's going to be really difficult for you or for your current situation to be higher than your expectations, right? So we need to manage expectations. And on this, I don't mean that we should, well, actually, what I mean is that we should lower our expectations. And I know it sounds terrible, but let me explain. We need to separate two two concepts, right? But first, let's dig in on expectations. I think I already mentioned the mental model on expectations, but I'm going to repeat that. Like, imagine that tomorrow you and I say, hey, let's meet tomorrow, and I'm gonna give you $50, and you're gonna be like, awesome, okay, yeah, that sounds great. And so tomorrow comes, and I end up giving you $30, and you're like, okay, well, thanks a lot. So let's save this scenario, and let's hypothesize with another scenario. Second scenario is, hey, let's meet up tomorrow. I'm gonna give you $10, and you're like, oh, okay, well, awesome, $10 is good. So tomorrow comes, and I end up giving you $30, right? And you're like, oh, wow, thank you so much, right? Do you see the line of the story here? Like, scenario one, you have expectations of $50 and you end up with $30. Scenario two, you had expectations of 10 and you end up with $30. The outcome is the same in both scenarios, right? But in one scenario you feel like you lost $20, and in the other you feel like you earned or you won 20 extra dollars. And it's a way different thing. Like, even like Kahneman already mentioned that, right? Daniel Kahneman, he was a Nobel Prize in behavioral economics. And if you think about it, like, we do that stuff on a daily basis, and the example is very basic, right? And it's easy to put numbers on here, but imagine now, like, our brains are machines. The brain doesn't stop comparing stuff, especially now that we are exposed to social media, and there's a lot of information, and we always get exposed to different lifestyles, right? And it's very easy for us to have like really high expectations, and those expectations are really making us a little bit more miserable, because again, it's hard sometimes to get to those expectations. The secret here is to separate those two concepts, because one thing is expectations, which normally we project that we it's likely to happen, or we want for us to happen with a high likelihood, right? Uh, versus aspirations. When we have some aspiration, is that hey, we're shooting for this, right? But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna affect really my happiness in a meaningful way, right? So that's the point. Like separating what what expectations are gonna be for me. Like if we lower that, we're gonna be managing our happiness. So expectations are gonna managing our happiness, and our aspirations. Um, you might think, hey, if we lower our expectations, then it sounds lazy, right? Like it sounds that I'm not ambitious. It sounds that I just give up, right? And it's not it's not the thing. It's not the opposite, but it's a different equation here. The problem is it's when it comes to the element of effort, right? Because if I have lower expectations, or the secret is having lower expectations to be happy, but having high aspirations, right? And we want to tie the effort to our aspirations, not our expectations. Because you always we always say that, right? If you want to make bullseye, you need to aspire to shoot over over target. Otherwise, you're gonna be lower. So if you set your expectations lower, but you set your aspirations higher, but you put effort in order to get to your aspirations, this is kind of really being smart about managing your happiness. Because, hey, we're gonna be here for a few years, right? It's not worth it to be miserable for 98% of your time here in planet Earth. So I think concepts like this is going to be helpful for us to really enjoy life and having a really a little bit more fulfillful life. Just think about it. If we set high aspirations and we always set the relationship of the effort in order to get to those aspirations, is going to be way better, because normally it's very likely that we're going to get to our expectations. Hence, we're going to be more happy or happier, right? So this is the concept. I'm really, bullish on this theory. Of course, there are people more ambitious than others, but for you to be ambitious, right? It doesn't mean that you need to be miserable and unhappy all the time. You can have, a really humble and low expectations type of life and being happy, but you're shooting for the stars. But just make sure that you put the effort to get to the stars if you're shooting for the stars, and know what really means to get there. Because another problem that we have is that there's a lot of people that have high expectations, and not even for the expectations they're putting effort to get those. So that's a really it's a big problem, because the lower the effort, the less likely are you gonna get to your expectations. So it's kind of the opposite. It means that you're shooting for being miserable all your life, right? Like just being lazy and not putting effort. So if you want to be happy or manage the level of happiness, just put decent expectations. I don't mean like low expectations, but aspire as high as you can, because this will drive your life. This will drive your purpose as well. And make sure that you put the effort towards your aspirations and not expectations. So this was the concept. I'm really looking forward for your feedback on this. Hopefully, my English was not so rusty that you could understand everything. So thanks so much, and yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Hopefully, this won't be the last one for this year. Take care. Bye.